Sphere of the cranial nerves you can see here do you see the sagittal projection of the head. You can see this is maxilla, this is pterygopalatine fossa, this is pterygoid process. You can see teeth of the upper jaw. This is superior orbital fissure. This is lacrimal gland inside. This is inferior orbital fissure. Here will be infraorbital opening, which continues into the infraorbital canal and after that into the groove. Here will be foramen rotundum, round opening. Here will be foramen ovale. On is, do you see? This is foramen ovale. Do you see? Foramen rotundum, it opens into the pterygopalatine fossa, we cannot see. This is the pterygoid process. You can see this is ear. You can see this is parotid gland. Parotid gland. Here will be mandible. Here the tongue hangs from mandible. Do you see? These are teeth of the lower jaw. This is ventral opening. This is mandible coronoid process, condyle process, mandible angle. You can see sublingual gland, submandible gland. This is brain stem, cerebral peduncle, cerebral aqueduct, tectal lamin, fourth ventricle, pons, medulla oblongata, cerebellum. Trigeminal nerve is mixed nerve, and it is mixed. It has any portion of the motor function, and it is king for the sensitive of the fascial side of the head, because it has 3 sensory nuclei. All nuclei are placed in the dorsal side of the pons. In the dorsal side of the pons. Because some students answered me in the mesencephalon. Not. All nuclei are placed in the dorsal side of the pons, but one nucleus, so do you see, from pons continues into the medial brain, because it's called mesencephalic. Here will be pontine nuclei. In the last literature, you can find it's another name. It was called sensory principal nucleus, nucleus sensorius principalis. Now it is pontine by nucleosification. And another nucleus, by its continuation, is so long. When you look at it, it looks like it wants to enter into the spinal cord because it is called spinal. You can see these are 3 nuclei, which are sensory. Another nucleus is motor nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. You can see 2 sensory nuclei will come the axons. They will come to the sensory nuclei. They will come to the sensory nuclei. From motor nucleus exit axons and complete into the nerve. You can see this is trigeminal nerve. Trigeminal nerve, do you see, enters or exits from brain in front of the medial cerebellar peduncle. Do you remember? Give me brainstem. Do you remember? This is, do you see, medial cerebellar peduncle. Here is trigeminal nerve. You can see trigeminal nerve is called trigeminal because it is formed by 3 branches. Like cranial nerves, each nerve has its individual name, which accords special number. Yes? Trigeminal nerve, number 5. Vagus nerve, number 10. Trigeminal nerve divides into 3 branches, and each branch, it has its concrete numeration. First branch, ophthalmic. Second branch, maxillary. Third branch is mandible. The first branch, it, do you see, by axons, by dendrites, exits from orbit and comes to its body, which is placed in the trigeminal ganglion. Do you remember we studied on the anterior side of the tip of the pyramid is depression? Do you see? Impressiotegemi. Do you remember? Here lies the ganglion, which is analogous of the spinal ganglion. Did you understand? Spinal ganglion is placed near the spinal cord. Do you see? Axons from, do you see, bodies which complete into the spinal ganglion will go into the spinal cord. Here will be, do you see, trigeminal ganglion. It is collection of the bodies of the afferent neurons, to which will come dendrites, and from which axons will direct information to the nuclei into the brain, and from nuclei of the brain to the cortex. Do you see? This first branch, do you see, it has concrete numeration. Number 1 is called ophthalmic branch. And some thousands of the bodies, do you see, will locate in the ganglion, and after that the axons will go to the nucleus. Ophthalmic branch. Ophthalmic branch is formed by the following branches. In the skin of the frontal region, in the periosteum of the frontal bone, in the frontal muscles, but this is sensitive, in the eyebrow, in the upper eyelid, in the upper side of the eyeball are placed receptors, from which, do you see, will begin, do you see, supraorbital nerve, which will join to the upper wall of the orbit and will complete into the ophthalmic nerve. Do you see? Ophthalmic nerve is formed by, do you see, at first dendrites, before trigeminal ganglion. And it, do you see, into it will complete supraorbital branch, which, do you see, will supply the upper side of the eyeball and all things above than the upper side of the eyeball. On the medial wall of the orbit, and medial wall of the orbit is formed by back of the nose. Yes? In the medial wall of the orbit, do you see, in the eyeball, do you see, on the medial side, do you see, from ciliary body, do you see, it passes by medial wall, do you see? And it, do you see, completes into the ophthalmic nerve. This is nasociliary nerve, nervus nasociliaris. It controls the whole medial wall, medial side of the eyeball, and all sheets of the eyeball, sensitive. From capsule of the lacrimal gland will begin a lacrimal branch and will complete into the ophthalmic nerve. Ophthalmic nerve is the result of the collection of the supraorbital, nasociliary, and lacrimal. You can see another from pterygopalatine fossa by foramen rotundum, do you see, will enter, do you see, into the cranial cavity and will complete into the nerve, into the, do you see, trigeminal nerve. This number 2, maxillary nerve. Into the maxillary nerve will complete branch, which is placed in the pterygopalatine fossa and which keeps pterygopalatine ganglion, vegetative ganglion. Do you remember, last time I said you ganglions, they are for the decreasing of the impulse by multiplication. Because smooth muscular tissue, secretion tissue, they work slowly. And impulse from center will exit with very fast velocity. Do you see? And you can see this ganglion is placed on the trigeminal branch. Why? Because the ganglion is located in the capsule. If will be ganglionitis, inflammation of the ganglion, capsule will expand and in it receptors, and we will, do you see, bring brain to the nucleus and after that to the cortex. Do you see? Because the all ganglions which are placed on the head, they have capsules. And in the capsules will be receptors for the genital sensitive and concretely for the pain. And the king for the whole sensitive on the fascial side is trigeminal nerve because it controls the capsule. Did you understand? You can see on the maxilla in front of, do you see, from periosteum, from skin, do you see, from expression muscles about their sensitive, will begin nerve, which is called infraorbital nerve. Intraorbital nerve, by infraorbital open, will come into the infraorbital canal, will lie on the floor, do you see, and will go, do you see, from orbit by inferior orbital fascia and will complete into the maxillary nerve. I forgot. This branch which keeps the pterygopalatine ganglion is called trigoid branch. Do you see? And also, here will be sphenopalatine opening into the pterygoid branch. From nasal cavity will come nasal posterior branches, nasal posterior nerves. They will be sensitive from nasal cavity. Do you see? But this is infraorbital nerve, periosteum of the maxilla, muscles which, do you see, are placed on the maxilla, skin sensitive, yes? And do you see, infraorbital nerve also will collect alveolary superior anterior branches from, do you see, anterior teeth, from incisors and canine. From, do you see, this is infraorbital canal. This is, do you see, infraorbital open, and here inside will be canal. This will be canal. By, do you see, anterior floor of this canal will complete into the infraorbital nerve, infraorbital anterior branches. Infraorbital superior anterior. From, do you see, premolars will complete, do you see, into the deep portion of the floor, do you see, of the infraorbital canal, the alveoli superior medial from premolars. And do remember here on the mandible, on the maxilla, we have three smaller openings. They are called foramina, alveolaris, and superior anterior. You can see here, do you see, from posterior teeth, do you see, will come and will complete into the infraorbital nerve, do you see, the alveolary superior posterior. Superior inform us about our jaw, posterior, these are molars. Each alveolary branch, this or this, is result of collection of three. It is collected by dental branch, which passes through the root, by the periodontal branch, which comes from ligaments which keep the tooth in the alveoli, and gingival branch. Dental, periodontal, and gingival, they will do this, they will do this, they will do this. Did you understand? You can see, besides innervation of the whole maxilla and all objects on the maxilla, the infraorbital nerve, why it came into the orbit? It controls the lower eyelid and the lower side of the eyeball. Did you understand? I forgot. Lacrimal nerve. Lacrimal gland is placed above and laterally, because besides control of the capsule of the lacrimal gland, it controls the lateral side of the eyeball. The lacrimal lateral side, supraorbital upper side, nasociliar medial side of the eyeball, and infraorbital lower side. Did you understand? You can see. Another nerve. I will take another color, because this is also sensory, but for the differentiation of the branch. Zygomatic region. Zygomatic skin, this is which covers the zygomatic bone. In the periosteum of the zygomatic bone, in the skin are placed receptors. But this nerve, look please here, it came from capsule of the lacrimal gland, do you see, will collect, do you see, here, do you see information, and will, do you see, come into the pterygopalatine fossa. Do you see, here, zygomatic bone, here we have zygomatica fascial opening, here we have zygomatica temporal opening. Because, do you see, the nerve will come into the infratemporal and to the infra. Now I will try to color very, do you see, contrastly this branch. Do you see? This is the zygomatic nerve. You can see maxillary nerve. It is result of the collection of the pterygoid branch, zygomatic branch, and infraorbital branch. You can see trigeminal nerve is formed by ophthalmic, maxillary, and mandible. Ophthalmic branch is formed by supraorbital, nasociliar, lacrimal. Maxillary branch is formed by pterygoid, infraorbital, zygomatic. You can see this, do you see, two branches. Another branch comes from external base by mandible canal. It's called, do you see, mandible branch. By oval opening, it is called mandible branch. Mandible branch, it is a result of the collection of the following. Lingual nerve will come from anterior to third parts of the tongue. General sensitive, pain, pressure, texture, temperature. This is lingual branch. From capsule of the sublingual gland into the lingual nerve, from capsule of the submandible gland, do you see, into the lingual nerve, will complete the same branches, sublingual and submandible. You can see lingual branch, it completes into the mandible nerve. Do you see from teeth, do you see, into the mandible canal will collect, do you see, the dental, gingival, and periodontal branches, the alveolary inferior nerve, nervus alveolaris inferior. By, do you see, mandible canal, which is placed on the medial side, do you see, alveolary inferior nerve, do you see, will exit and will complete into, and will complete into the mandible canal. This into the mandible canal. You can see. But here on the anterior side of the chin, do you see, here will start, do you see, from periosteum, from, do you see, mental muscle, from, do you see, skin, do you see, will start the mental nerve. Mental nerve by mental opening will enter into the mandible canal and will complete also into the alveolar inferior nerve. Alveolar inferior nerve, it passes through the mandible canal inside in the mandible and takes sensory from all objects which are called mandible. Teeth, gingival, periodontal, and dental, do you see, mental branch, from periosteum, all things. Here will be the cheek. From cheek will complete the, do you see, buccal branch, nervus buccalis. It will take sensory from skin, from, do you see, fat body between skin and buccinator muscle, from muscle, and from mucous membrane. From all layers which do the cheek. Do you see, this will be buccal nerve. From temporal region, do you see, skin, temporal muscle, periosteum of the temporal fossa, will begin nerve. And also it will, do you see, collect information from capsule of the parotid gland. It is called auriculotemporalis, auriculotemporal nerve. This is sensory portion of the mandible branch. Trigeminal nerve, by itself, by its concrete characteristic, has the sensory first branch. It has the sensory second branch. First branch is formed by 3 lesser nerves. The second branch is formed by 3 lesser nerves. There, do you see third branch? At first, it is formed by 4 branches. Lingual. Do you see alveolar inferior, buccal, and the auriculotemporal. Didn't it? But from all nerves, only mandible branch is mixed. You can see, here if you remember, this, do you see, will have these bodies, here will have these bodies, do you see, here will have bodies, and these bodies are covered by capsule. This is called trigeminal ganglion, because the ophthalmic and maxillary and mandible to the trigeminal ganglion will come by dendrites. Only after trigeminal ganglion will be axons. But from all branches, only mandible branch is mixed. And you can see for the motor portion, it's not important to enter into the ganglion because it is motor. It joins to the ganglion only from lower and completes into the mandible branch. Exits, do you see, below, do you see, by oval opening, and do you see, divides into the branches, motor, which will go to the all mastication muscles. And what are mastication muscles? Who remembers? Masseter.
Lateral pterygoid, medial pterygoid.
And temporal. Temporal, masseter, lateral pterygoid, and medial pterygoid. Vaccinator, not. Vaccinator, this is muscle for the expression, but it is only alone by exception from this group. Why? Because all expression muscles don't have capsule. Vaccinator muscle has capsule. Did you understand? Okay, but they're all mastication muscles. Temporal, masseter, pterygoid lateral, pterygoid medial. Besides them, it controls, do you see, the all muscles for the expanding of the something. This will be tensor tympanic muscle and tensor vellopalatine muscle. We have 2 muscles. One muscle expands the soft palate, and another expands tympanic membrane. These all muscles for the expansion, they are controlled by trigeminal nerve. But the branch is called mandible, and it includes motor portion. No, besides the mastication muscles, because mobile pointing of the mastication muscles attaches where? Where attaches the... My dear, listen to me and try to think. All muscles have fixed pointing and mobile pointing. Where attaches mobile pointings of the mastication muscles? Mandible, Ankita said. Mandible. My dear, mandible may change the position. I will cut your heads. My dear, every time I explain you, mobile pointing, it can do is change position do is of the any object. Near the skull, only mandible can change position. Try to think. But because the mandible branch of the trigeminal, the motor portion of the mandible branch of the trigeminal nerve, it controls the all muscles which attach to the mandible. From above to mandible attach the all mastication muscles, about names of which we recollected. Do you remember? Temporal, masseter, pterygoid lateral and medial. And from lower will attach the some muscles of the suprahyoid group. The mylohyoid, anterior belly of the digastric, and remember anterior belly of the digastric, and geniohyoid, stylohyoid, and posterior belly of the digastric. They are not controlled by trigeminal nerve. Did you understand? I will repeat. All muscles which attach to the mandible, these are temporal, masseter, pterygoid lateral, and medial. These are mastication. There are some muscles of the suprahyoid group, mylohyoid, geniohyoid, and anterior belly of the digastric, which attach to the mandible, and besides them, the some muscles for the expanding of the tympanic membrane and soft palate, tensor veli palatine and tensor tympanic muscle. Do you see? And this is trigeminal nerve. But trigeminal nerve is king for the sensitive of on the fascial side. It enters into each point of the tissues of the fascial side. And do remember, last time we studied, do you see, in the dorsal side of the cerebral peduncle, opposite than the superior colliculus, is placed, do you see, nucleus of the oculomotor nerve. Oculomotor nerve enters by superior orbital fissure into the orbit. But you can see here near it is placed accessory nucleus of the oculomotor nerve. Do you see?
Yes.
And I said vegetative nerves don't go alone.
No.
They travel by any transport. Take the oculomotor nerve like this and enter into the orbit.
Lateral rectus.
But here will be ciliar ganglion. Ciliar ganglion is analogous of the pterygopalatine ganglion. It is placed on the ophthalmic branch. Why? Because its capsule will be controlled by trigeminal nerve. This is one very important moment. You see, here will be multiplication for the decrease of the impulse, and here will be changing of the transport. Why? Trigeminal nerve enters everywhere, and for the vegetative portion is very, do you see, easy to change the transport. We'll change the nerve number third, like bus, do you see, to the nerve number 5, trigeminal. And by nasociliar branch, and from it will be long ciliar nerves will go to the sphincter pupil muscle. Do you see? From intermedial median nucleus, the same situation. It will come, do you see, by oculomotor nerve to the ciliar ganglion, do you see? After multiplication by nasociliar and by short ciliar branches will go to the ciliar muscle. You can see at first vegetative portion came into the orbit by oculomotor nerve because vegetative nuclei were located near the oculomotor nucleus. In the ganglion, do you see, on the station, which is called the ciliar ganglion, this will be ciliar ganglion, will decrease the impulse, and on this station it will change the transport. It will continue travel by branches of the trigeminal nerve. Did you understand? You can see here, do you see, is pterygoid process, do you see, and here will be pterygoid canal. You can see, do you see, here, do you see, do you see, here, do you see, do you see, start the fascial nerve, which we will study next time, will go into the fascial canal, will come inside, and near the hiatus of the greater petrous canal, its branch will exit. It will come, do you see, to the lacerum opening. Do you see, this is lacerum opening between temporal bone, sphenoid bone, and occipital bone. And near the lacerum opening is placed pterygoid canal. Pterygoid canal, through the base of the pterygoid process, comes into the pterygopalatine fossa. You can see here greater petrosus nerve, which is branch of the fascial nerve, which exits, do you see, by hiatus of the greater petrosus canal, it, do you see, comes here. It comes here. When, do you see, greater petrosus nerve enters into the pterygoid canal, it will change its name, will called deep pterygoid. It will come to the pterygopalatine ganglion. This, do you see, branch, it came from fascial nerve, because fascial nerve includes the elevated superior nucleus. Do you remember? And do you see, its branch, do you see, will come here. And do you see, after multiplication, will sit on the pterygoid branch, on the zygomatic branch. And do you remember, the zygomatic branch by a bridge connects with lacrimal branch, specially for bringing to the secretion tissue of the vegetative portion. Lacrimal capsule is controlled by lacrimal nerve. This is branch of the ophthalmic. But it also is controlled by the zygomatic branch. For what? Especially for the bringing of the vegetative portion to the secretion tissue. Did you understand? And you can see here, do you see, will be fascial nerve. It came from anywhere, which we will study by next time. But fascial nerve inside in the facial canal divides into two branches. Greater petrosus nerve and another nerve will continue its traveling, do you see, will join to the lingual nerve and will come to the sublingual ganglion and to the submandibular ganglion. Sometimes ganglion can be one, sublingual. And Lucy will do, after multiplication, the fibers to the secretion tissue of the sublingual, submandibular. Sometimes can be two. And you see here will be decreasing of the impulse, and after that, do you see the order will come to the secretion tissue of the sublingual, submandibular gland. I draw here. This is bundle, vegetative bundle of the fascial nerve. Next time we will study it. But today we will study it, okay. And it divides into the two portions. One portion through the pterygopalatine ganglion will bring secretion, do you see, order for the lacrimal gland. Another will come to the will come by another portion to the sublingual submandibular after multiplication to the same glands, salivary glands. In our country, we have any story which I can explain by our anatomical knowledges. But we don't see in our country this situation. In your country, you can check the situation because